Welcome to Spiritual Calisthenics.
Today, on Saturday, July 29th, we commemorate the Holy Martyr Callinicus, as well as Theodota the Holy Martyr and her children, Constantine the third Patriarch of Constantinople, and the pious King Theodosius the New. Regarding Saint Callinicus, the martyr of Asia Minor, Saint Callinicus was from Sicilia. Because he preached Christ and turned many pagans away from the idols, he was seized by Sacerdon the governor, who subjected him to many tortures, then had him shod with shoes, in which nails had been fixed upright, and compelled him to run to the city of Gangra, where he was burned alive in a furnace. Your martyr, O Lord, in his courageous contest for you, received as the prize the crown of incorruption and life from you, our immortal God. For since he possessed your strength, he cast down the tyrants, and wholly destroyed the demon's strengthless presumption. O Christ God, by his prayers, save our souls, since you art merciful. The readings are according to the week. From St. Paul's letter to the Romans. Brethren, let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, he who resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror to good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of him who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval, for he is God's servant, for your own good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for he who does not bear the sword in vain, he is the servant of God to execute his wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore one must be subject not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For the same reasons, you also pay taxes. The authorities are ministers of God, attending this very thing. Pay all of their dues, taxes to whom taxes are due. Remembering, of course, that this is, and St. Paul is being very direct in this, that this is an allegory when Jesus Christ said, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God. This is allegorical. St. Paul is telling us to be good citizens, but there is a point to this. Revenue to whom revenue is due, respect to whom respect is due, honor to whom honor is due. Owe no one anything except to love one another, for he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law, the commandments. You shall not commit adultery, you shall not kill, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and any of the other commandments are summed up in this sentence. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no wrong to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. In other words, the Ten Commandments, the Decalogue, is the pure modicum, the lowest denominator necessary to keep us from going into absolute chaos, to be devouring each other, destroy one another. And so therefore, the laws of the lands, because most laws of most lands do have these things: don't kill, don't steal, taxes for the common good, for social outreach, regardless of religious affiliation. And so these social goods are something that we should strive for, to love our neighbor, to be good stewards of our communities. And so St. Paul is asking us to take that to a higher level, and that is why Christians were always the model of this, the greatest people of giving gifts to others, of helping others, of being good stewards of not only the environment, but of their societies. From the Gospel according to St. Matthew, the Lord said, he who is not with me is against me, and he who does not gather with me scatters. Therefore I tell you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven. Now what does that mean? So people can say all they want about Christ, but against the Spirit is what fulfills in us the spirit of kindness, the spirit of love, the spirit of gentleness. All of these things are gifts of the Holy Spirit into us. When we empty ourselves through kenosis, we receive the Holy Spirit. This is why St. Seraphim of Sarov says that our greatest goal is to the acquisition of the Holy Spirit. To blaspheme against the Holy Spirit means to reject hope, means to reject the possibility that things can get better in this world. And so therefore, to blaspheme against God, fine, God can forgive that. But to blaspheme against hope, the idea that someone's life could be made better, to take that away from them, there is nothing worse. That is cruel. And whoever says a word against the Son of Man will be forgiven, that is against him. But whoever speaks against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, even in this age or in the age to come. This is one of the reasons why suicide is considered an unforgivable sin, mainly because it blasphemes against the idea of hope, against the Holy Spirit. And of course, it is considered unforgivable because if we kill ourselves, then we're not able to ask for forgiveness. because even that can be forgiven. And this is one of the reasons why many people that have committed suicide and survived have said that almost immediately after that they regretted it. They didn't want to, because of course it is the deception. It is the trick of the evil one to get us to despair, to think that life cannot be made any better and that this is the only way out. And of course, these people that are given a second chance often make good on it. Either make the tree good and its fruit good, or make the tree bad and its fruit bad. For the tree is known by its fruit. In other words, whatever we give to the world, that is how we are going to be defined. Is our fruit good or bad? You can say, I'm a good person, but you're cruel. You're not a good person. You can say, I'm a horrible person, but you are giving to everyone. You're not a horrible person. The devil tries to trick us into thinking that we are things that we are not. You brood of vipers, how can you speak good when you are evil? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks. The good man out of his good treasure brings forth good, and the evil man out of his evil treasure brings forth evil. I tell you, on the day of judgment men will render account for every careless word they utter. For by your words you will be justified, and by your words you will be condemned. Meaning every word that we spoke in our heart, every condemnation that we said against people will be judged. This is in direct correlation to St. Paul's letter to the Romans that we just read, in which we are called to be higher. We are called to love as God loved. This is the acquisition of the Holy Spirit. And if we don't do this, then yes, we will be judged.
I hope that you've enjoyed today's Spiritual Calisthenics. Have a blessed and wonderful day.